Welcome back, everybody, to the Derby City Fandom podcast. My name is Kenny, joined today by Jake and Colin. Today, also, we have my friend Zach.
Hey.
Welcome back, Zach.
It's good to be back.
Hey, Zach. Missed you.
Glad to be here.
Long time. Yeah.
Yes, so we kind of spoiled it in our last podcast, but today we are talking about Transformers.
You couldn't get away with not having me here.
I
broke into your house when I heard there was a signal that sent out a transwarp field or some bullshit, and I immediately stopped cutting a Decepticon in half just to run over here and break into your house.
Yes.
Yeah, you hit my car on the way in. Thanks, asshole.
Oh, geez, that was yours? My bad.
You knocked off the mirror. Gotta make a claim now.
Oh, jeez. Well, it's okay. We'll cut it from the final cut. No worries.
Yeah, we can edit that out.
Yeah.
$1,400.
Oh, no. I didn't do it. But yes, we're talking about the newest Transformers film, Rise of the Beasts. Now, I think this is going to be an interesting episode because I think it is technically the episode with the topic that we have like the lowest rating for, just critically wise. But I enjoy big dumb robot stuff. Zach here is a big fan. Did you ever find that one missing Maximal that you were looking for?
Oh, depends on which one.
I think you were looking for a Rhinox figurine.
Oh, yeah.
Did you? Okay.
I got that one.
Nerd.
Look, hey, some people have boyfriends, some people have girlfriends. I have a shelf full of plastic robots to keep me company at night.
Aw. It's kind of sweet.
Yes. They look menacing in all of their plastic glory.
I worked really hard to display them.
I know.
That's exactly what I'm going for. Mm-hmm.
But yes.
One day, I'm going to be the one that has all the Clone Trooper Legos. I'm going to have like 10,000 of them.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
That's rad.
Just stage your own little Clone War army.
Yeah. I'm going to all 501st, basically.
Damn straight.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. We're doing our best to not talk about this film, and I feel like that's something that we'll have to get into.
All right, let's jump into
it. Colin, I've given you this moment in a while. What do you think it's rated?
I'm going to guess 60.
Y'all, go ahead and take a guess. Let's do a Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, critically?
Yeah.
Okay, critically, I think it's like 50.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Critics did not like it.
Critics
did not
enjoyed
like
this
it.
film.
Critics
No,
and I have something in common.
Fans, people that actually wanted to go see the movie and weren't paid to go see the movie, enjoyed it. But the people that have to watch every movie, yeah, I can see why they didn't like this one.
What about you, Kenny?
Well, I'm not going to answer because I've looked them up prior because I was curious. I'm like, man, this film is kind of mid. So I looked up, and surprisingly enough, they were mid.
Would imagine the fans probably scored it higher.
So Rotten Tomatoes got a 54%. And IMDb 6.6 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yep.
Thanks, Michael Bay.
Yikes.
Michael Bay was not related to this film at all.
No, he was a
produced
producer.
Was he?
Yeah,
I
he was
know
an
he wasn't
executive
the
producer. He was
director.
not director, though.
He was.
He like
some other no-name director. I actually didn't recognize the name whatsoever.
I'm pretty sure he's done some other stuff that I've seen, but I'm blanking on his name like always.
Stephen Cable.
Stephen
He's
Cable
the
Jr.
director. Yeah.
Well, look
he's
up.
done the Creed films.
That explains
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't really care for those films either. Anyway,
Haven't seen them. Anyways.
all right, let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Rise of the Beast.
Rise of the Beast. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I did not watch the Bumblebee film
I did.
because I did not think that this was a direct sequel.
Is it related?
It is
Yeah.
supposed to be a direct sequel.
But I mean, the only thing you get out of it is a one-liner.
right.
They've made it very clear that this is the one they want to be the start of their official.
The
reboot.
technical start of the reboot instead of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I got over here and Kenny told me that. But that kind of does make sense in a way. But
Yeah.
I like the Bumblebee over this one that we're talking about.
Bumblebee was surprisingly good for being really small scope. The fights in Bumblebee kick ass. They're so good. The using transformation against the bad guys in that movie was just blew my mind. It was so good. So
Yeah.
good.
which I guess we do see kind of some more interesting variations behind the transformation.
Ish. I agree with that.
And this one, at least from what I've seen, with Mirage.
It's more than Michael Bay, because Michael Bay was like, this is a car commercial that we're having robots in.
Sure.
And the rest of it, who gives a shit?
We're going to advertise this Dodge Charger. We're going to advertise this semi truck and this. Was Jazz a Porsche before he got ripped in half?
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah. Gone too soon.
Oh yeah.
And you could definitely tell with it not being directly Michael Bay, there were less explosions.
There were.
Yes. But when it's weird that Michael Bay is now basically synonymous with explosions. Right.
I don't think it's weird. I mean, it makes a lot of
what
sense.
You're known for, I mean,
The guy has a target audience and he knows how to achieve that that tiny little dopamine drip in our monkey brains.
Nothing wrong with that.
So
I mean, I enjoy explosions in films.
Exactly.
oh gosh.
Builds excitement.
Just make sure that he has actual writers who can develop a plot and don't let him have to do everything. It's fine.
Don't make. So that was going to be like a weird nitpick because it's a throwaway line in this film, but it made me like think about it more. But it's just like they used the crutch of a prime being like some special thing.
Oh, okay.
And it's not really a special thing.
Well, I can speak to that a little bit, like from other media and stuff, but
Sure, which we'll probably get into because I imagine we'll also compare this film to the 90s or 80s.
80s is Generation 1, 90s is Beast Wars, kind of my wheelhouse.
Sure.
And then early 2000s, they did so many different reboots. So
Right.
which most were okay. One of them was really, really good. So
Gotcha. Okay, but this film in particular, we get our standard protag guy down bad.
I thought they did a much better job with him than they did with.
Think he's a better protagonist than Witwicky?
Definitely better than what was the guy in the fourth and fifth films that Mark Wahlberg played.
Cade something.
Cade? Okay, Cade. Whatever Cade was. They did a much better job with Noah than they did with Cade. Although I gotta say, like, the initial Transformers, like the 2007 Transformers movie, that's like as best as you can get for a Transformers movie. They kind of knocked that one out of the park, I think. And so, like, it's hard for me to compare Sam Witwicky to Noah because they're very, like, drastically different characters.
Noah does seem to have a bit more agency with why he needs to do the things that
do. Yeah, he's
like he actually has like a family.
He's an ex-soldier. He's got a brother who's got I think it's sickle cell disease.
Yeah, sickle cell.
That's got all kinds of medical treatment he's got to take care of. Like every point in this movie, he has a reason to be involved. That's not just, oh hey, I know Bumblebee, or oh hey, I'm the guy that first met the Autobots that they tracked down because random.
Sure.
Like they don't just have go along with it because now you're involved. He chooses to stay involved.
Right. Which I guess plot line wise, a lot of that is because he got turned down from his I guess initial security job because he left the military. And was also not a team player, basically,
also
in terms
a
of
little bit of racist overtones because Noah is Hispanic,
Hispanic in some
Hispanic
form.
and mixed race, maybe. But like there was definitely a little bit of like, yes, they blamed it all on him leaving the military and all this sort of stuff. But like, it was a little bit of the. It was an old white man making a decision for a young person of color.
Yes, in '94.
Yeah.
Which is when this
in the
is
mid-90s.
So, times were different.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, he gets denied from that job, and he takes it kind of personal. He goes back to his friend, who acquires money through less
legal means.
Means, which I appreciate that our introduction to Reek, his buddy, is that Noah spends time, like the first 2-3 minutes of the film, just making some sort of cable vampire thing.
Yeah, it gets her a pay-per-view. That's it.
Yeah, so you can get free cable, which is fantastic. You just
Yeah, just pirate TV.
Just pirate TV,
Yeah.
like people have been doing for years.
Netflix, HBO, Amazon.
Yeah.
Now they're getting on that shit.
Yeah,
You
finally.
even see like reels and like TikToks and that kind of stuff. Like this just happened to me. Wow.
Yep. But we're introduced to our main character, Noah, and he, much like every other main male protag in a Transformers film, just kind of stumbles onto the robot purely accidentally.
Yep,
By stealing it or
yeah. There's a car that has been left alone. That it's a fancy Porsche. Got to go jack that.
Yeah.
So.
You know, this particular car's been sitting here for like weeks. Nobody's coming back for it. They won't even notice it's gone.
Yeah. And then as soon as he gets into it, there's Optimus Prime with the calling all Autobots. We got this thing we got to go do. And so then he's stuck in the car as the car is being summoned elsewhere. So
Yes, as Mirage, the particular Autobot in question here, drives away and has a merry police chase, of which I think no less than like 2 or 3 cops are like get in like some horrendous car accidents.
no, they're very likely dead or seriously injured.
I mean, one of them got hit by a cement mixing truck. Yeah. The other one, it, like at full speed, it hits like a little divide thing.
Yeah, one of the like barriers for a highway,
Like an off ramp.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, these guys are very dead. And now they're just gone forever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, don't bring it up.
Don't worry about it. Forget about it.
But
that was kind of one thing that I wish that Michael Bay had more influence on, because if you look at previous Transformer films, there's a scene on a highway, cars are flipping left and right, there's massive explosions, expressway signs are literally being freaking flipped out of the air and that kind of shit. That was just on the Brooklyn Bridge, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah,
and there's just a few cars just got wrecked.
Yeah, the traffic was
I guess
light.
that it's at night, but it's it's still New York, right?
Yeah.
I guess. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that.
Oh, yeah. No, it's that can be its own thing. But then we get the bit where Optimus, at this point in the reboot, is on the fence still whether or not humans can really function as like a trustworthy like
Adversary.
or allies or
ally or
anything,
really
yeah.
anything.
Well, I mean,
So they
like,
just kind of let him do his thing, and then Mirage, being the silver-tongued bastard that he is, it's just like, hey, I know a guy that's great at breaking into things because he's small.
yeah. We can't go break in and steal this half of the MacGuffin because we're giant robots and that would be too obvious. But hey, Mirage just so happened to accidentally kidnap a human. Let's use that guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's super. Did you know Easter egg when Mirage is convincing Noah to go along with it? He's like, hey, I can be whatever car you want. You can sell me for the cash you're looking for. He transforms into a Formula One car.
Yeah.
That was G1 Mirage. Like in the original cartoon, he was a Formula One car. Like, and that's the
Okay.
crazy thing is like, because these toys were imported over from Japan, the toys were made after very specific Formula One car or a rally car, this kind of thing. Like,
To appeal to the kids.
right, of course, because they looked great.
Yeah.
They just brought them over exactly as they are. And then when they had to explain them in the TV show, they just didn't.
They didn't.
Formula One car's never going to be on a regular road.
Sure.
This like specific Lancia rally car, never going
Yeah.
to be on the road.
But then almost all of them became sport cars at that point. Like your Mustangs, your Porsches, your Chargers.
Well, yeah, and the original cast was just so varied. It was every kind of vehicle possible.
Yeah.
But then eventually they realized, no, if we're going to have robots in disguise as our tagline, we need to have actual cars that are on the road to be disguised.
Right. Which even then, like, it's the whole idea of like hiding in plain sight, right? Like you can only hide in plain sight so much when you're a red semi truck.
Why not? I mean, don't get me wrong. Red is probably a little bit more obvious, but like,
Yes.
just random semi truck. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, how many semi trucks have you seen since the 2007 movie with the flames on them like Optimus had?
Not very many.
Exactly one, but I think that was
Really?
a
I've
niche.
seen like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it's been, Jesus, 16 years.
Yeah.
But
It was interesting because I'm pretty sure that semi truck was carrying a bunch of cars to like a car show. So
the irony.
But yeah, it was
The perfect cover, a car carrier to cover all your car-shaped robots.
right.
Keep in mind, you're not going to see that type of vehicle, much alone that type of truck, in South America.
In South America, the
Yeah.
fact that it's able to drift in those corners is absurd. So, anyways, after they get the first half of the MacGuffin stolen by the not Predacons, which I'm upset with.
Oh, there's no way they could do Predacons in this one. There's no way.
I know.
It'd have to be
but
entirely different.
You would have to change the entire basis of the film, but I
Mm-hmm.
would have appreciated if, you know,
I think
the
I would
only
have enjoyed
other...
that more, to be honest.
The only...
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, if you bring back David Kaye as Beast Wars Megatron, yes. Yeah. No, bring that on. I'm here for it. But
Like-
it's an entirely different movie.
It's weird because this is our, I guess, technical second introduction to Scorponok because he's in the first film.
Yes.
Like the very
Yeah.
first film.
Yeah. And then
But
they
in
just
this
have
one, he's just like
random
a
bots.
mass-produced jobber.
the final battle is probably one of my biggest complaints.
Yeah, that.
But we'll get there when we
we'll
get there. Yeah.
So the Terrorcons, as they're called, led by Scourge, not Megatron.
Yeah.
Who I miss dearly.
Yes.
Apparently he's going to be part of the second one. Because the Stephen Cable Jr. has been doing tons and tons of media, and one of his
Trying to salvage this series already.
I mean, he seems really into it. He seems committed, and the sequel's
he's a
been
fan
greenlit.
at least. Okay.
So one of his interviews was like, "Yeah, I'd really like to see what we can do with Megatron in the next movies. Like, I know where he's technically supposed to be in the Bay continuity, but I'd really like to see what we could do with him. Be a very different take."
Sure.
And it's like, okay, if we're getting Megatron King of Cybertron or something like that, then sure, yeah. Okay, I'll take it. But
they get the first half of the MacGuffin after a battle at the museum, where we're introduced to our first Maximal Air Razor. I believe?
Air Razor, yeah,
Air Razor.
Yes, the Hawk.
yeah, who never transformed. I'm kind of mad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never transformed and gets done the dirtiest, I think, out of all of them in this film. But I guess you needed to emphasize the whole, no matter the cost kind of punchline that they kept forcing on you.
Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know.
Do you think somebody got it dirtier?
Rhinox had 0 lines.
Rhinox was
Never
barely
spoke.
even in it.
He never spoke.
Yes, he
Only time that I really see it is like when he's on the
screamed
freaking
at the
mountain,
river.
and maybe for half a second when they have that overhead shot of them going through like the river.
He's in like all the background shots of the battle. Like every background shot, he's there. But the problem is the battle's so gray that like this big brown gray rhino robot
doesn't stand out. The only bit of him in the final battle that stands out is the fact that his hammer thing that he swings around has like green spike tips on it.
Yeah.
which is a reference to the original toy because the original toy had a lot of green and gold in it.
I was going to say, I thought it was green and gold, wasn't it?
Well, the beige outside for the rhino
Which makes
transformation,
sense,
but
yeah.
then like the inside was all green and gold robotics, and it was super cool. And they, funny story, they didn't tell the animators of Beast Wars what his weapons were supposed to be as they were making the show, like because
Oh,
the toys in the
fabulous.
show were developed at the same time. And so they decided to give him chain guns, and he's supposed to have like a big mace and chain with the toy. But no, they're like, no, this is a chain gun. Go with that. It's like,
That's
okay.
great.
Sure.
And it's like, none of that was in the movie. They made the Maximals so different that it's like, I'm going to go along with it because I want to see more. But like,
Sure. It's like, oh man. So even when you all bring up that, okay, Rhinox had no lines, like Cheetor only said 2.
yes, but
And one of those lines
but
was
my
like
boy
2 words.
My boy threw the spear that saved Noah's ass later. We'll get to it. There's a lot to nitpick with this movie. We need to actually cover the plot.
Yes. So they get the MacGuffin, and we discover that this MacGuffin is a way to summon a giant Decepticon. I guess he's not.
No.
He's not
No,
called
no,
a
no,
Decepticon
no,
at this
no,
point.
Unicron
but
is his own
Unicron-
thing.
Yeah.
Unicron is basically he's the anti-god of the Transformers.
Right,
He's
'cause-
the biggest big bad.
You can probably correct me on this, but I guess just in the general lore, Omnicron is basically the polar opposite of Cybertron, because Cybertron itself is supposed to be a giant robot.
Cybertron is, depending on continuity, because God, how many times have they rebooted it? But Cybertron is the body of the god Primus. Primus created the first Transformers, who then created the prints for all the rest of the Transformers. The Allspark is supposed to be Primus's actual spark, because sparks are like the heart of Transformers.
It's the
As long as
the
it's-
soul representation.
Yeah, the heart and soul kind of combined, and then there's various like memory systems and things like that.
Yeah.
But there's basically, as long as a spark is intact, it can be revived. You can put it into a different body, and the Transformer lives. So, but yes, Unicron is the dark opposite of Primus.
Okay.
So, and Primus creates life, Unicron destroys it.
Yes.
There it is.
Just because I enjoy this concept, Omnicron is basically Hungry Boy. He's going around the galaxies and universe trying to
he's-
eat planets, because that's what you do when you're the size of the planet you're consuming.
Yes.
Bigger.
Or bigger. Most of the time, bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger. Always
Usually bigger.
Usually
Go big or go home.
Yeah. And through his dark god powers, he's empowered Scourge, who... Wow, I wish he was, like, Megatron. He has about the same sort of charisma that Starscream has, but less whiny.
Oh no, he's the best like
That's robot
secondary
bounty hunter.
bad guy.
Yeah.
He's the best like advisor to the throne that I have seen in a while.
He's actually
he's-
capable.
Super capable, overly confident, and like knows just how strong he is and how strong the others aren't. Now, why that flips later, who knows?
Because he's a prime.
Problems with the final battle.
Problems with the final battle.
But yeah, no, Scourge is great, played by Peter Dinklage. Of all
Yeah.
people.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
It was
Always.
very good, and like all of his lines were just like, oh shit, this guy is menacing.
Yeah. They've done a great job with the different voices. I'm not a huge fan of Mirages, because in my brain they're just trying to do Hot Shot again.
What,
From any number of the
okay.
animations.
Okay,
I see where
get
you're
to
going
that.
with
We'll
that.
get to that later, but like, Hot Shot is just not Bumblebee.
Yeah, and that's
And
basically all
Bumblebee
he
is just not Hound, and like Hound is.
They're all just like a step away from each other. At
Yes,
least Bumblebee
yes.
has character, because I know some of the plot of the first film. Like when he gets his voice box ripped out, he has to just quote movies and radio the entire time.
And I liked that because he was a side character this time. They only used like the best quotes possible.
Yeah.
I feel like, but like, Hot Shot wasn't original. Like that's the thing that like this is boggling my mind a little bit, because it's like you always have the kid, well, not really kid friendly, but like the human,
The one that
the guy who
sympathizes.
takes care of the humans.
Yeah.
And so it's like it was kind of hard for them to do that, I feel like, in the original series, because Bumblebee was just a quote machine, or like he had to garble up the radio to talk. And so it's like now you have Mirage, who's got hella charisma, and I thought was really funny.
Yes.
And like there's a good bromance between him and Noah. I felt like when he says, "Hey, don't mess with my boy," like
I
I believed
just
it.
realized that's Pete Davidson.
yes, it's
Yeah.
Pete Davidson. Like,
Yeah.
and I was
No shit.
I was going in like
That makes me hate him a little bit. I'm not
I
a
was-
big Pete Davidson fan.
I was
Sorry.
I was expecting to hate it, because I'm with you. I'm not a big Pete Davidson fan. But like I walked out of that movie, I'm like, hot damn, he did really well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The one thing I do actually like about Mirage is he kind of I'll say this partially, kind of lives up to his name. So he uses
Yes.
so
He's the
he
only
uses
one
the,
that has these weird extra powers, which I don't understand.
Well, it's a lot.
Right.
Well, he uses his powers to confuse his enemy
He
by
makes
making
mirages.
duplicates.
Yeah.
He makes
Duplicates.
clones. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's just
which
like the only
I
other-
respect. I thought that was really cool.
It was really good.
Yeah, but the only other like thing that we get is plot armor of Optimus Prime is a Prime and thus he's just better.
Okay, all right. You're gonna have to give me a time here because the primes are like ascended beings. They're like better than the rest of the Transformers. Like they
Fine. I don't know the deep lore, but
the original ones that Primus created, those are the original 13 primes. I don't know Michael Bay continuity because there's no continuity with the Bay movies.
I think the 13 Primes are involved in The Last Night.
It's something like that. And Revenge of the Fallen because the Fallen is apparently a prime.
The
but
Fallen
whatever.
is, I guess,
He's the evil prime.
Right, he's the Prime
He's
that
the
decided.
Judas Prime or something. I don't know.
Well, it's just like there was either 14 or 13 Primes, and he's the one that defected.
Right.
And it took all
But-
the other, however many were left over, to defeat just him.
Right. And then there's
It's like 4 or 3 or 5, maybe 3 or 5, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
in most continuities, primes are literally just better. They're built different. And so, like, if you have a line of primes, Optimus being the last one, then he is supposed to be stronger. He is supposed to be better than the rest of the Transformers. He's bigger than all of his Autobots in this one. He's the biggest one there is.
Sure, he's consistently been the biggest one.
No.
Well, I guess other than like
Well, and
the weird jet guy. and you
Stratosphere.
got
I forgot about Stratosphere. But,
Stratosphere in this film.
like, there are
You
other
got Sentinel and
there are other characters that like Grimlock,
Grimlock.
The big dinosaur.
Yeah.
There's tons of other characters that are supposed to be bigger than Optimus, but like in
He has the
most
best fighting
contexts,
capability, though.
he
That's
should
like
be
his
the
shtick,
strongest,
yeah.
the best equipped, the best fighter, et cetera, et cetera.
And
And so like it depends on the continuity how you become a prime, whether you're built a prime or whether you get it through some other means, usually the matrix of leadership. But
Yeah,
like
that whole MacGuffin.
it's there's a lot of different
There's
stuff
a
going
lot.
because they've been redoing it for how many years. But the whole yeah, I am a prime. Let me show you the real power of a prime. That's supposed to mean a lot, and this movie didn't do that because
like,
he
let me
is supposed to be like in Bumblebee. He holds off an army of Decepticons by himself, or like it's presumed that oh my gosh, he's in big trouble, and there's all these Decepticons. He landed on Earth just fine. He got out like no scratches. So he took on an army by himself off screen, and then here he gets his ass kicked a couple times and then wins. And it's like, power of a prime? What the hell? Like,
Yeah. But,
anyways, continue synopsis, please. Sorry.
no, you're good. So
I respect that rant.
I guess
I do.
from that particular point, they get the MacGuffin stolen, or the first half of the MacGuffin stolen, and then they realize that this MacGuffin's actually in halves.
Yep.
So they end up through some detective work with the help of a museum intern who gets basically abused, like interns generally do.
Yeah.
Ends up discovering that hey, there's a group of people down in Peru that may know what's going on.
Oh yeah, and Bumblebee dies in this fight at the museum.
Oh yeah,
He sacrifices himself to make sure that Prime doesn't die, and then Ares swoops in and
Saves
scares them off. I look, I don't know why they left.
yeah. I can understand.
They had what they needed.
They had what they
guess,
needed,
but
and
yeah.
they thought
he
that.
thought he had the full
Right,
the
right.
key. So
Yeah, which we see that scene, and
somehow just
I can
comes in.
appreciate how, I guess, through dark god powers that transcend space and time, he's just able to kind of like make an audience chamber just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, hologram audience chamber makes sense to me.
Sure,
I mean,
space robots, whatever.
If Mirage makes holograms, then why can't Unicron? I
yeah,
mean,
but then he gets like force grabbed.
yeah. Well, that's the dark god juice running through their veins. So
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they also realize that they need to find the second half, and they basically just tail the Autobots down to Peru, of which we get a scene where they discover like a hidden temple where there's supposed to be the second half of the MacGuffin.
Yep.
Because they follow all the symbols saying like, hey, the Autobot / Maximal's symbol are like on this ancient thing.
Hold on, Autobots and Maximals are very different.
Right. I
But
can't
it's the
remember
maximal
what
symbols.
symbol.
It's the
it was.
maximal
It was the
symbols,
maximal symbol.
But
Okay.
anyways,
Come on,
yeah,
Kenny.
they get to
I'm
the
sorry.
crypt. Down below is the super hidden temple.
Yes.
Below the hidden part of the hidden temple,
Yes, below the part of the hidden temple.
MacGuffin's gone.
MacGuffin's gone. They follow the cave through a chase scene because there are smaller Terracons.
Called Frenzy.
called-
Never named in the movie.
Never named in the movie.
The toy calls them Frenzy.
They are called Frenzy. Good to know. Another one of the mass-produced jobbers, so they don't really mean anything. They're just kind of supposed to be the human-sized menace
Yeah, yeah,
to the humans primarily because they're the only ones that really deal with them.
pretty much. Yeah,
They outrun it, they kill it, and they find themselves out in just like a secret valley, like far removed from the city at this point, and they are introduced to the rest of the Maximals.
Yep.
At this point, which I find odd that Air Razor is the only one that was like separated because the other 4 were all together.
Well,
I guess she had her.
this
own
is something
key,
that's like
right?
been messed up in rewrites. Because the intro sequence where the Maximals take the MacGuffin and leave their planet, and their planet gets eaten by Unicron, that's a late addition.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was added like last year to production. Yeah. So originally, what was supposed to have happened is you're supposed to see a lot more Maximals that left the planet, ran out of time, ran out of budget. But the Maximals on this spaceship, when they divided the MacGuffin in half, they split their forces in half. So one half, after they landed and kind of got used to things on Earth, one half went to Africa. The other half stayed in South America. So
Okay.
Air Razor is the last of her half from Africa. And she's sort of been tailing her statuette, which had the first MacGuffin in it, I think.
Yes, correct.
That's completely left unsaid. But that's kind of implied, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
Nah.
the other half of the Maximals are
No.
there.
It's not implied at all. I disagree with that.
Well, I mean, it is a statue
It's a
of
Falcon
her.
statue thing that has some
Maximal symbols.
maximal symbols
yeah.
on it, and that's the most you get out of that interaction.
Yeah, this
They
movie
just
is like
pull it out of a fucking crate and like, oh, this looks interesting.
I
It
mean,
just has
but
some
that's
Maximals ancient symbols on it.
I mean, that's on par with everything else in Transformers, where the random MacGuffin is just kind of showing
just
up
brought up.
because you can't really.
I mean, come
write
on.
it in.
Does that make any more or less sense than Sam Witwicky's great grandfather having seen Megatron frozen in ice and getting the coordinates of the Allspark laser etched into his glasses? Because that's what happened.
That's a poll. Man.
That's
I
what
forgot
happened.
about that.
That's the
Forgot
whole
about
reason
that.
Sam Witwicky's even involved in this.
That's
shit.
more believable.
Yeah. God, it's a mess sometimes.
Yeah.
But okay. That being said, we're introduced to I don't know the more interesting characters.
Yeah,
I
Optimus
guess
Primal,
just because we
Cheetor,
haven't
Rhinox.
actually like
Optimus
dealt with any
Primal, yeah.
Optimus Primal being like okay. Optimus Primal, from what I have seen of the old cartoon, the old Beast Wars, it's just like you're the guy.
Yeah.
And it's funny that they make a point to say that, oh, this is Optimus Primal, and it's just like, I was named after you. Mm-hmm. And like, stares directly at
Yeah.
Primal, and he's just, or at Prime, and he's
Yeah.
just like, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, well, he says that later in private, but yeah, yeah, he is. Well, the other thing that they like kept saying and never actually said outright is that the MacGuffin takes you through space and time.
Yes.
So in original Beast Wars continuity, the Beast Wars, the Maximals are like super far descendants of the Autobots.
Oh, so they're actually future.
Yep, and
They're
then
past and future.
no.
They do say that.
They
do.
Because Air Razor
They-
does
'cause
make
they-
a mention of it.
Yep, but they
But-
never outright say, we're from your future, we use the transwarp key to come to the past. Because Optimus knows what the transwarp key is and thought it was lost. So how can it be lost if the Maximals had it in the future? I guess is not something they wanted to open up, but it's whatever.
Whatever.
It's
I mean,
Interesting.
because of time shenanigans, they can say they lost it, but then they found it.
They've
Whatever.
got enough stuff that they're skipping over in this movie. That's just one more thing.
Right? But yeah, so I guess just in terms of what the Maximals are, we got Optimus Primal being a
Okay.
lowland gorilla.
Monker.
Big ol' monkey. We got Cheetor, which I hope
boy.
that's self-explanatory. He's a cheetah.
That's my boy.
Rhinox is a rhino.
Yeah,
Air
he's pretty
Razor
cool.
is a hawk of some form.
I mean,
Or an eagle.
it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't
They're
really
gigantic.
matter.
They don't really like
Yeah.
Beast Wars. They were actually animal sized. So like in Beast Wars, they run into like the G1 Transformers at a certain point. And the G1 Transformers are like titans. They're like statues above
Like they're
them.
massive,
gigantic.
if I remember, right?
Yeah. And here they're the same size as the Autobots.
Yeah, I guess
So it's like I'm fine with
Scale-wise,
it.
they're kind of the same, except for, is it RC?
RC.
RC is
RC
human
comes
sized.
back?
Yeah. But yeah, and we also get Wheeljack, who also has had a lot of his stuff cut from the movie because people were so upset that he doesn't look like the original Wheeljack. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he plays like a weird character. They have a
He's supposed to be the
seems
scientist. He's
right,
supposed to be
he's
like
supposed to be the scientist.
he's supposed to be the one that like figures out all the plans, understands what they're doing.
But he
and,
has like this weird conversation with Noah. It's like, can it be racist if I'm speaking with an accent when I'm a robot?
Right, because he speaks Spanish because his actor is Spanish.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Mexican actually, from Guadalajara.
Yeah, and he's been like stationed down in Peru like the entire time. It's not really explained
knows?
why he's just there. Right?
just there,
He's
yeah.
just not included in the initial first quarter half of the film.
Which is criminal in my opinion, but sure.
Yeah.
Because I love that actor. So
But so naturally the MacGuffin gets stolen
again,
once again.
because during the fight where Noah and Elena are escaping Frenzy, the Autobots fight the Terracons again, and Airazor gets hit by Scourge, that then corrupts her with the dark influence, and then she starts going evil. And then she steals the MacGuffin to give it back to Scourge.
Yeah.
So,
Via Elena.
yeah,
Yes.
Elena had it and
Elena had
captured
it.
and yeah.
Yeah, because the whole big side plot is like, okay, if they just blow this thing up, then the problem is half solved.
Well,
At
no,
least Unicron wouldn't show up.
Right, Unicron wouldn't show up, but the Autobots
But-
want to have this MacGuffin so they can go back and save Cybertron.
Right.
So, because they can't leave Earth, they don't have the means right now.
Yeah, they didn't have the means. So that's like the interesting side plot, which comes to a head is where Noah opts to not destroy it.
Yep.
Just like, okay, we'll
wants-
try to find a way.
He wants to try and get Prime and the others home. He realizes that they're the same as him.
Yeah, they're
They're-
also fighting for
they're-
family and home.
Yep, exactly.
So,
I would have done it.
well, in that particular scene, we see, I guess, Air Razor mostly turn, half turn. She fights for control a lot.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of back and forth between Airazor versus
Yes.
Dark Airazor, which
At the end of the
interesting, but
Yeah, at the end of the particular scene, she uses like the last bit of, I guess, reason she has to tell Primal to kill her.
yep,
Bear hug.
Bear hug, gorilla hug,
squish,
whoosh.
Grape ape.
great babe.
So then we get more of the whole, like, no matter the cost, we got to protect life. Mm-hmm. Is like the theme of the Maximals. So from there, I guess we fast forward to the final battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
we're at the
On a big gray
odd-
field with a whole bunch of
odd
nameless
thing.
mooks. Yeah,
Yes, more frenzies. In a moment of panic, I guess Scourge calls in some more reinforcements, which are just Scorponok.
yeah, they're Scorponok,
Just, bargain bin Scorponok.
which is really sad because Scorponok is really cool.
Yeah.
Like not this one, but like everywhere else.
So I kind of mentioned it earlier. I wish they were at least did something more with the Predacons. If they didn't go the dinosaur route, like, that's fine. But you could have included like Waspinator. You could have included
It
the
was
spider, like tarantula.
Tarantulas, Black Arachnia, Inferno.
Yeah, you had a lot of people they could have pulled from,
Quick Strike,
and they
Rampage.
just didn't.
I mean, I can keep naming these guys
Sure.
forever, but it's like, yeah, they had plenty of stuff to pull from.
And they just decided to throw a bunch of copy-pasted frenzies on the screen.
Which is like bizarre to me because the whole movie, the Terracons have been going blow for blow with the Autobots or beating the Autobots.
Yeah,
right?
like soundly. Like I don't remember their
handily.
names, but you got the guy
Battletrap,
which
he's
is
the big tow truck.
tow truck, and then you got the flyer.
Nightbird. Yeah,
Nightbird.
Yeah. And they were great. They were freaking awesome designs. Like they weren't just silver gray copy pastes like a lot of the Michael Bay stuff was.
Right.
And same with Bumblebee. The villains are very recognizable. I can't remember the names because I didn't get the toys, but like the blue and the red ones, very clearly significant.
Yeah.
Same way with these guys.
They actually stand out, just design-wise.
Right. And then instead of having like a fourth one show up and it be terrifying, no, we're going to have a nameless army of Ultrons that just go there to die.
Just they're just there to absorb bullets,
Yeah.
which most of them fly over their heads anyways.
Yeah. But, yeah. And then, like, everybody has, like, half an action shot, except for Mirage, who goes one-on-one with Scourge.
And does a better job than Prime did in his first interaction, by the way. Which is upsetting, because Prime is supposed to be a Prime, as you said. Which is why I am, like, upset.
Yep.
Because, like, okay, from what I know of the second film, and from what I know of, I guess, the last Michael Bay film, the Primes are special. Mm-hmm. You have told me, like, why they're special. But it's like, you know, they're special. Like, you know, I've always just considered it, like, weird little, like, Transformers plot armor.
Like, in the comics, there's a whole thing where a Prime dies because of his hubris, and he gets completely surrounded. And so then there's, like, actual threat of, like, okay, this guy was supposed to be... You see him being a badass, and then he still dies.
Sure.
And then later, when Optimus becomes the Prime in the most recent comics, and he gets surrounded, people are like, oh shit, the Prime's not invincible. We've got to actually get there and help him.
They have some plot armor, but they're not death-proof.
They're not death proof. And it's like, later on in that comic, when Optimus says, you forget that I am a Prime, then it has weight, then it has impact, then he mows through half the army by himself.
Right,
and
which is
like,
expected, because that's
exactly
epic one-liner. You then proceed to murder half of whatever's in front of you.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's like here, they want it to have that weight when he's saying the line in his actual final battle where he's beating Scourge. It does nothing to me. Like it got that little bit of, oh hey, I remember that awesome comic I read, rather than like, this is great for the movie. What was better is like they win, obviously.
Sure.
The Terracons get torn apart in various really cool ways.
But let me ask you this question before we get to it. The particular
finale.
Big finale. How do you feel about the introduction of Iron Man to the Transformers universe?
I was actually thinking that in the fucking theaters. I was thinking that 100%.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings because this is not the first time that humans have had an exosuit in Transformers.
Sure,
This
I
is
know
like the
that.
fourth or fifth time. Mm-hmm. I would say this is the best time, but that's because they stole their ideas from Iron Man.
Right.
But like, I thought it was very cool. Like, Mirage gave Noah a hand blaster out of something earlier in the movie, which don't ask what part of his body that came from.
Yep.
But then when Mirage is heavily damaged after trying to save Noah against Scourge, he transforms into the suit. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was good.
That was a good scene.
It
But
is
for
very
nobody
odd.
that understands that's actually happened before,
Yeah, it looks
it's
just
very
like
out
Iron
of
Man.
place. It just seems
But
very out of place. That is like
also-
a fan grab.
They leave so much just like unsaid. Like, canonically, Transformers have the ability to. It's a big controversy in the fandom called mass shifting,
Sure.
where they're not just the size that they are in car form. and then all the parts of the car become all the parts of the robot.
Which we
There's
actually see in this film.
You see it when Mirage changes into all the different cars. He's
Into a dump truck.
Into a dump truck, yes. The Porsche becomes a dump truck and then transforms back into regular Mirage size. So it's there. It happens. And it's like, it has been controversial for so long because half of the cartoons up until now are just like copy paste the toy into CG version in the show.
And that doesn't change because, changing
Of course.
doesn't sell toys.
Exactly. But it's like, and you can't have a Transformer that goes 6 different ways from robot to Porsche to Lamborghini to F1 car to dump truck.
Yeah, eventually people are going to stop buying the toy.
Right. But I don't know. I thought that it made sense that like Mirage is out of power. He's basically dying. He knows that he has to protect Noah, so he's going to transform one last time into the suit of armor.
Yeah.
Made sense.
Which then I guess continuing with the plot, but Noah, Exosuit Noah, teams up with Prime and basically...
Bumblebee gets revived. That's
Yes.
right, because the MacGuffin activates and it lets out this huge shockwave that powers up.
After explaining that it would take no less than a supernova to basically get this energon to react.
Yep.
And all the energon
it starts
that's
activating
around.
and then it revives B.
Sure,
Because,
fine.
okay.
And he jumps out of a fucking... Iron Man jumps out of a fucking
Yeah.
plane and starts
Yep.
shooting up the fucking...
Yeah, because Stratosphere doesn't engage in the battle at all.
No, because he's an old man. He's a crotchety old man.
Right, but
Falling apart, coughing up engines.
was it...
What was the... in Revenge of the Fallen?
Jetfire.
Jetfire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, a
Worst Jetfire.
worse Jetfire, but...
For a crotchety old man, that was pretty good too. So.
But
Had the cane and everything.
Jetfire was useful in the sole fact that he gave Prime wings, and it's just
He
like,
gave
oh,
Prime his
hey.
upgrade, yeah.
Well, he had to rip out the thing in his
It's
chest.
like, hey, take my spark, go kick this guy's ass.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm dying. Here, let me finish the job. Take my parts. Rips out his own heart.
Right. But it's just like Stratosphere is just the carrier. Like,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
and so it's fun where it's just like, I'm going to just airdrop Bumblebee. But before that happens, we get the big team up between Noah and Prime against Scourge,
Yep.
which is...
And now they start winning.
Then they start winning, but then I guess like the extra reinforcements, the Scorponok's and all the extra frenzies show up.
Yep.
And then it becomes a one-on-one again.
Yep.
Between Prime and Scourge.
But then you see Noah freaking just stab Scourge in the back of the leg with,
With a knife,
a
whatever.
6-inch blade, whatever.
Made out of like
Sure-
Cybertronian metal.
Right.
Yeah, surely that's gonna.
It's a
affect-
Cybertron sword.
Like,
but
it's going to hurt.
He's going
regardless.
for, the Achilles tendon if Transformers have that, which kind of.
It's like it's weird to think that no matter how you look at it, these things still have like some sort of functional anatomy. If you break the elbow joint of the robot, it's still going to not be able to function
Right.
with a good arm.
So, yeah, the one-on-one now goes in Prime's favor. They win, but
he wins after a line that upsets me because if you don't know anything about the Primes, it's just like, okay, this is just plot armor.
Let me show you the real power of a Prime. Yeah, sure.
And then
Made me
he
feel
was
it next
already
time.
just like winning the fight, and
Yeah.
he was just like, let me show you the real power of the Prime, and it's I don't know, but
They do say the infamous line though in the movie.
there's a hand.
There's more.
There's
than
a
meets the
handful
eye.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. They say that a lot.
Primal does, in fact,
Yeah.
which is
Hey,
weird.
as long as they say that in every movie, I'm content. If they don't say it, dude, I think we got a problem.
Yeah.
Yes. So after the contractually obligated line, that's like, I guess, towards the beginning of the Peru arc of the film,
Yeah.
where they're having where Primal and Prime are having like the heart to
The
heart,
Optimus to
the
Optimus
spark to
talk.
spark,
Yeah.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
But
It was lame.
yeah, I actually had to step out of the film at that moment, which I feel like was okay.
Yeah. I don't think
I don't think I missed anything, but so they managed to blow up the MacGuffin.
Well, Scourge, with his dying breath, blasts the control panel that Elena had been working on in secret to shut down the MacGuffin.
Yeah, that happens.
So then the only way to stop the MacGuffin from bringing Unicron to Earth
Is to break the MacGuffin.
Is to break it, which is going to cause an explosion and do bad things.
Yeah.
So
Which, from the way that the cinematography presented it, like, Unicron was already, like, partially through the portal. With, just in terms of science, anything that large, anywhere near Earth, would have cataclysmic effects.
yes,
Just
It-
gravitationally.
It's like the face in Eternals coming out of the Earth into the Indian Ocean. Like it makes no sense scientifically. It's just there to look good.
Don't even get me started on the Eternals.
Don't worry, I won't.
We're doing
Just-
our best to not
listen
have to
to
review
that.
film.
Listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
We're doing our best to not have to watch that one
Yeah.
for this show.
But you're right.
But yeah, and so then Prime makes his valiant sacrifice, which this had a better line than anything, I think, is where Unicron's like, "Don't do it, Prime. I'll give you whatever you want." And
I'll
Prime
give
says,
you whatever you want.
Then die, and breaks the MacGuffin. And I'm just like, yes,
That
Touchdown.
That might have been the best line in the film. It's just like,
I think it was.
let me give you what you want. It's like, well, then give me your death.
Yeah.
Very good. But because of imploding black hole nonsense or warp hole, whatever,
Yeah, everything's getting sucked.
everything's getting sucked back into the other.
Hold on. Pause.
What's up?
Why did we not bring this up? The fact that he's being pushed into liquid magma and is barely even affected.
Well, they're robots. Why would they be?
Cybertronium metal
Space
different
robots.
than regular magma. Tougher than magma.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, hey,
But don't worry about
I'm
it.
alone over here. I thought that was bullshit.
There are metals on Earth that can survive magma. Tungsten, for example. Can
Okay, fine.
reside in
Whatever.
magma.
Yeah.
I thought it was bullshit.
But don't
I'm
worry
alone
about
over
that
here.
frenzy
I'm
that
on
got
the side of the
dropped.
table for a reason.
I hear you. I got you.
Yes.
Respect.
Continue.
But yes. But not all of the Terracons are immune to lava because Frenzy number 5,000 got shoved into the lava.
Yeah.
But
not nearly as tough. But hey, the frenzies are like mass produced or something. They're like fire and forget missiles, seeker missiles or something that
Yeah.
are just robot instead of missile.
yeah,
So,
and that's the limit of their function.
yeah.
But we
Then
get,
you have-
we get a
you
good
have
scene.
Noah,
We get the good scene of
saving-
Noah trying to save him, being like, "Hey, I said we're in this together. By God, we're in this together."
Damn straight. I'm not leaving you. Don't you down me, Prime.
Which is weird because Prime goes back and forth between being like a good leader and having like this persecution complex throughout this entire film.
I mean, yeah.
Most people would just call that pussy ass bitch.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, was that a little forward?
For my taste, sure. But really,
You're not too far off though from how he's portrayed, but he
It's
does
not the
redeem
best.
himself. But alas, Noah's particular new upgrade is not enough to keep him from being sucked into the hole. So Primal shows up, and it's just like, okay,
you need some monkey strength.
you need some monkey
Here,
strength.
have some gorilla glue to pull you back down to Earth.
Yes, and then we get a very kind of cheesy like outrun a gravitational.
Yeah,
force.
outrun the gravitational well, which
Don't worry.
yeah.
Noah uses his little Iron Man feet to
anchor himself in. There you go.
exactly. Yeah.
And which is funny because while he's on the back of Prime, his jet boosters are also like
Yeah.
Also
on,
going.
like
Yeah.
it's actually going to affect the speed out.
I mean, you never know. It
You
might.
never know, it might, but like you
It
know,
looks good.
but
It looks. It did look cool. I'll give him
it
that.
did look cool. But even with his jet boosting person on his caboose, for the lack of a better word, Primal was still able to just outrun them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
monkey speed is insane in this movie.
Yeah,
Like nobody
yeah.
else can keep up with corrupted Air Razor when she kidnaps Elena. Primal does. Primal
Yeah.
out here
Literally
swinging
swinging
on
from
trees
mountain to mountain.
and mountains.
And trees that should not be able to
Climbing
hold
up-
his weight.
I don't know how.
Climbing up a waterfall, rock face kind
Yeah.
of thing, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool, but at the
Monkey
same
speed.
time, where's everybody else at?
Very far behind because none of them can climb because they are not monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have others that can fly. Just saying.
Which is the one that they're chasing after.
Yeah.
In that particular instance. But yeah, all things said and done, we're at the end of the film. We get the whole big bit that, okay, we all are as one.
Yeah,
We're going-
humans and Autobots can coexist peacefully.
Yes.
You know, they're
I got
not
a
all
line for
bad.
this one.
Till all are one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they keep trying to push,
Yeah.
as they have however many times before.
Yep. I wanted to put the whole, like, attention Autobots if you're somewhere in the galaxy, like, you know.
Oh yeah,
But that was
this goes out to all
every
the
time
Autobots
that I
hiding
found that
amongst the
message.
stars. Yeah,
Every time I had that message, what I've done is always playing too loud in the background.
right, and you
so
can't.
I
yeah.
can't play that.
Yeah, obviously.
Speaking of, I was honestly expecting a Linkin Park song at the end.
R.I.P.
Did not happen.
Did not happen.
Well.
Which that might be my biggest complaint behind the final battle. If we're going to, I want to step back to the final battle. Is I don't feel like the song they chose for that worked. I think they should have just gone with like a big like score that they did in like the Michael Bay films instead of like an actual song. Well,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say it's an actual song, but like a lyrical song.
Right. No,
Yeah,
I agree.
don't even get me started on this. We haven't even talked about the score for this
Yeah.
film.
So before we get
0 out of 10, in my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah. So plot's basically done. They're trying to wrap up loose ends. We have Noah applying for another job.
Yep.
Again, security at a spot.
Yep.
Trying to flex his ex-military credentials.
Yep.
And ends up running to somebody that I thought was going to be from Sector 7.
Yes.
But
Apparently.
they bring in G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
The other Hasbro thing that's been just thrown to the wayside.
Yes, because they're trying to sell more toys. It's another thing that, like, in previous cuts, in other previews of the movie, like pre-showings of the movie, it was Sector 7.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
They changed
which
that?
they
Why?
because Hasbro wants to make money, and like there is a history of GI Joe and Autobot crossover, Transformers
Okay.
crossing over. Like
'Cause
it's
I-
happened a lot.
I know that Marvel has produced a handful of G.I. Joe comics back in the 80s.
They produced some Transformers comics back in the 80s too.
Yes, they did.
And
That I didn't know.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
no, there's a
So-
long history of Transformers comics too.
That's weird that they would try to revamp that in this modern era, though.
Well, the other thing is that the next series of comics that's coming out later this year, I think, is starting with. It's a new company that's holding the Transformers and G.I. Joe IP, and they're starting with a crossover. So, like, I think Hasbro's plan is to merge these two because G.I. Joe does not sell very well. And so G.I.
No.
Joe plus Transformers, you can have a Transformer and a G.I. Joe at the same time.
Okay.
And it's like you sell both
guess
your
double the
products, I
toys,
guess.
right?
Yeah, if they're all in this one world, they can kind of make it their own. I don't know. Like when I first saw it, I was pissed. And then when I go back and think on it, I'm like, I mean, if they bring Noah back as part of G.I. Joe and then have other like Joe characters scattered around as part of his squad or something, I'd be okay with that. I feel like he was a really good protagonist. So
Sure.
What do you mean, like cameo kind of things from
well, like
other?
Like he's
like
just
in the previous
Snake
movies,
Eyes or whoever the
right?
Silent
Snake Eyes
Samurai guy
along
is.
with him, or like
Silent Ninja.
yeah, other characters that are Joe names, like showing up as part of his entourage. Because there's that one captain that shows up through all of the Michael Bay movies. That he's in the first one in the desert, leading his guys away from
Yeah.
Scorponok. He shows up in like every other movie,
Right.
Like
he's
every
a part
time.
of Nest after that first film. right?
Exactly. And there's so if it's that kind of a role where Noah's always coming back and he's got Joe's with him to do stuff, I'm fine. But like they didn't give the Maximals enough time to be characters. They barely had the Autobots be characters outside of Prime and Mirage. Like
Yeah.
this movie was like super quick paced. But I
For a
need
2-hour film, it was quick-paced.
I need a director's cut of this so that I get more than 2 lines from all the characters.
Yeah.
Because like RC doesn't have that many lines. Wheeljack has, honestly, a bunch of lines have been cut because people just did not like it. That
I
his
probably
face-
didn't receive well was
yeah,
received well in like
when-
a screening or something, I imagine.
Well, and there was huge internet uproar. I mean, we're talking like almost Sonic the Hedgehog levels of kickback on design change. Like it was bad when they first revealed that he was going to be part of it. I know a scene with Prime fighting a Decepticon at the beginning of the movie that's not there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the scene where Prime is walking through the buses. They first see the MacGuffin beam or whatever, and it's his introduction where he's rolling through these buses and transforms. And
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe it. Calling all Autobots. That part. Originally, there was not the Maximal Planet at the beginning. At the beginning was Optimus hunting down a Decepticon bus named Transit, fighting him to the death, killing Transit and dropping his body in the Hudson River. Like, that is like everywhere on the internet is talking about how they want this Transit scene because Transit had a great design.
Okay.
But apparently that was way too dark in test audiences. So they wanted to have a little bit less Psychopath Prime in the finished movie. And that's why they redid
sure.
and brought in the Maximal Planet opening with Unicron.
Well, I mean, sure, like you avoid like Psychopath Prime, but you know they still kill off.
Oh,
like,
I know.
You know, a couple of perfectly innocent
The police officers,
New York cops.
the Terracons die pretty gruesomely. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of violence, robot on robot violence, and sometimes off-screen accident violence against humans.
Yeah.
So
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. I need a director's cut. I love this movie dearly. I do. It's just me being a fan and me seeing my boy Cheetor on the big screen for however the 5 minutes he's there.
But he does get that good spear
the one
throw.
spear throw that he's there.
Yes, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry for scaring you.
Yeah.
Like he says, maybe like three more lines, like three more like words after that.
He
even.
has like
It's upsetting.
he doesn't have more lines than RC. He's got barely more lines than Wheeljack. Like he's just so very little in that movie.
Yeah.
But like most of the side characters are, and it's like
It is what it is.
I want a
in
longer
some
cut so I can
cases,
see
but-
more of the side characters. Like
Yeah.
that's what I walked away because I'll be real. I went to see this twice. First with one of my friends the day it came out, and then second when my brother was like, "Yo, have you seen that yet?" And I'm like, "Yes, but I'll see it again."
Okay.
And so like both times I walk out of that, I'm just like, I need more of everybody else. That's not Prime, Mirage, and Primal. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just not enough of the side characters for me. So
Okay. So for full transparency, I did have the Wikipedia article for this open so I could look at the names of the different actors and like who they portrayed.
right.
They even credit that the person that had the least lines in the film, Stratosphere, was also Transit
Oh wait, hang on.
in the deleted scene. And I'm just
Oh
smiling.
yes. The guy that played Stratosphere was also Transit. The funny thing, the guy that was Battletrap was also Rhinox for
Yeah.
all of the lines that got cut, and he was also the other monkey Maximal Ape Link.
Ape-Link,
in
yeah.
the
Ape
first
Link,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's another one of the guys that have seen a lot of. He's done a lot of like podcast media. To promote this, and he's just been singing the praises of the entire staff. Like he's like, I did the most lines and most work that I've done for a movie for this, and
They
here I am.
cut all
Here I am
of
watching
it.
it, and I'm like, okay, where is more of this? You said you did all these lines, and they cut
Because
so
Battletrap
much.
didn't have all that much in it.
Battletrap
either.
didn't have much. Ape Link didn't have much. Rhinox had nothing, and I'm like, if he did all this work, where is it? But
Yeah.
yeah, it just feels like they were worried about this movie being bloated, so they cut too much.
And left us with too little.
Or left me too little. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who are like, whatever.
Yeah. So, all things said and done. Jake, I know you've been quiet this entire time, so I'm going to force you to talk.
I've just been listening. I just love listening to Zach speak.
Sure. So, my personal recommendation for you, I know that you haven't seen it and you disliked the trailer, and that was your main reason why. This is a good 5 out of 10 film. Watch it when it comes out on Netflix.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
You miss out on the sound effects, which I feel like make it better, and that only makes it to like a 6.5 for me.
Huh.
The theater experience of hearing like the robots, the whole transforming sequences, and just the thumping and like the guttural nature of the robots.
Yeah, the bass when Primal is running, like
Is
you
solid.
feel the earth.
Like you hear that Dolby Digital.
Yeah.
Putting in
Yeah.
some effort. But that's the only time it ever puts any effort in.
You know, the first thing that I noticed as soon as the movie started was the fact that you don't have Optimus Prime talking in the beginning.
To tell
You actually
tell
just-
you thank you for coming to see the film.
No.
Right.
Yes.
No, I'm saying like to give like some backstory of where they're going with the film.
Yeah.
Or where they've been.
Because, you know, if you look
was-
at
it was
Revenge of the
Primal this
Fallen,
time,
it was,
yeah.
but it was Primal this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they just redid that intro so many times to try and get it right that, like, I don't know, maybe Peter Cullen was already done recording at that point or something.
Maybe.
So,
Probably.
something like that.
I have to imagine.
But I was expecting
I-
Prime's voice, but I got
Yeah.
Primal instead. And I was like, I mean, that's fine. I guess it's more.
If he was more of a main character, it'd make more sense, but he's like the biggest side character, I guess. So, yeah. I don't know.
Sure. But yeah, I think that basically wraps up most of our thoughts. Did you have any main things you wanted to bring up still left that we haven't already?
Will there be more? Are they going to try to make
Yeah,
this?
they've
yeah,
already confirmed.
they've
that the
already-
second
They've
one's coming
confirmed
out.
there's more.
I'm
Hopefully
super
it will be
excited for
better.
the fully animated one.
Yeah.
There's a fully animated one next year or year after.
September 14th, I believe, 2024.
Yeah, but that'll be interesting. I want to see what they can do with that because, in my opinion, animated Transformers has pretty
always
much
been
always
better.
been better than. But I think that's also because it's a series and they have more time to do more things. So
Oh, is it a series? I thought it was like a full length.
no. I mean, like
film.
animated Transformers in the past.
Oh,
like this is
okay.
just going to be a movie. So it's like I'm always interested to see what more they can do with it. So
Gotcha.
go watch the 2007 to 2009 or 2010 Transformers animated series.
Yep.
It's good old Cartoon Network animation. It's a lot of fun. It's entirely different, totally separate. Optimus is barely a Prime because Prime is different in that continuity. But
Yep.
it's a lot of fun, really great animation. Probably the best Transformers show there is, in my opinion.
I remember watching that one to death.
It's also
yes.
completely free online. Tubi. So check that out.
As of this moment,
If you want more Transformers and you don't want to go see the movie, there you go.
go watch the free stuff.
Go watch the free stuff. It's all on Tubi. Transformers animated.
Yep. Do you have any closing thoughts here, Colin?
Actually, kind of a question.
Or questions? Sure, go ahead.
So I'm looking up. So you have Rise of Cobra was 09, and then Retaliation was 13.
Oh, for
Oh,
G.I.
yeah,
Joe?
G.I. Joe, yeah.
Sure.
I'm not actually familiar with Snake Eyes.
Prime writer strike territory.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
the early, or I guess the late 2000s
Writer's
Strike,
strike,
as
yeah.
opposed to the more recent one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why Revenge of the Fallen, the second Transformers, was so bad. That's why the first G.I. Joe movie was just made
Trash.
basically no sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, trying to be Michael Bay without Michael Bay.
Yeah.
It just had a bunch of
This
explosions
is what
and
happens
stuff.
when you don't pay people.
Damn straight.
Yeah,
Pay your
no,
writers.
I saw Rise of Cobra and Retaliation. What I did not see was Snake Eyes. I'm not familiar with that whatsoever.
Yeah, I think they just kind of shadow dropped that one. They didn't put much promotion into it.
Yeah.
I never saw it
I
because I,
never
saw the
saw
first one and I'm like, well, I don't need to see any more of this.
Yeah, I was kind of already
So
But
checking.
apparently that was
that's
good.
kind of where this movie left me is with they're bringing GI Joe into it. I'm just like the
think-
movies just didn't do it for me. So
I think that was just
Fuck
a
it.
name drop. I hope that's just a name drop because
Yeah.
there is still more Transformers that they can go into that do not rely on G.I. Joe or any other
Yes.
continuity.
Well, and it's like, again, from all the interviews I've read from Stephen Cable Jr., the director, he's a Transformers fan. He gets Transformers. So I'm like, how much of this is being forced by corporate hand to say, nope, we need to sell G.I. Joe toys too? You know, because it's like
the master hand of Hasbro just ever looming.
Hard pass for me. I'd rather do I'd rather do Transformers than GI Joe. GI Joe has definitely run its course. It's done. It's dead. Needs to stay dead.
Needed to stay in the 80s.
Yeah. They're still selling toys or trying to sell toys.
Well, I mean, the little green action figures, the plastic, highly meltable figurines.
Oh no, they're making like really fancy ones now.
Oh, are they fancy now?
Yeah, no, they're like standard size action figures that like.
Where's my?
I mean, I'm on the Transformers Hasbro like email list, so I get all the Hasbro releases, and it's like every other time it's Power Rangers, which hey, fine, whatever. But GI Joe is a third of those releases, and I'm just like, I don't care, just straight to the bin. But it's like they are releasing a lot of GI Joe stuff still.
Yes.
I don't know why. I don't know where the interest is coming from for them to keep doing this. But
it can't be from American markets because they haven't done anything with it in forever.
Who else cares? Like, did G.I. Joe do super well internationally in the 80s?
I can't imagine it did because
right.
My bet would be Japan.
I guess, yeah.
Japan does go back and forth with a weird ideology of like America and Germany both.
Yes.
That's a different story for another time.
Yeah, that's a different podcast.
One that I only know the bare limits of it, and that is something far too deep for me to start this late into this episode.
Nope.
But okay.
But I didn't really give my closing thoughts.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
overall, the movie was entertaining. I'll admit that it was entertaining. I did enjoy some of the fight sequences, but the plot overall was, come on,
Not great.
But other than that, the one thing that really, really just didn't do it for me was the score. And that's kind of an important component for me. Is the score was, there are some lyrical components to it, but I need just no lyrics whatsoever.
You need epic music to let you focus on what's going on. Yeah.
And I feel like they did that in the previous films. Oh, and no Linkin Park. The fact that, I understand that Chester's no longer with us, R.I.P. by the way. A couple of them, but they did come out with new music recently. So
yeah.
But they could have brought Steve Jablonsky back.
And they try to make it like all 90s music too.
Sure.
Which is fine. That's the time period.
Right. But
the only music the only music that we do get is purely from like Mirage's perspective almost, which is it's tied into like Noah as well, which is like, the New York kind of like they make a reference to Marky Mark, for God's sake. Like they're trying to push hard that this is like rap in the 90s.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg, come on.
A lot of people are saying, like, aside from the director saying, no, this is a reboot, a lot of people are saying that because Mirage referenced Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, that means that because Mark Wahlberg exists in this universe, Cage Yeager can't exist in this universe.
Yeah.
So it's different from the Bayverse. Like, that's their reasoning. I'm like, just listen to the director. Why do you have to go through all these hoops? Like,
oh, man.
Anyway, that's all
Anyways.
I got.
It's good.
It's good. I guess go see it in the theaters if you want the theater experience. But otherwise, I think this is a perfectly passable film on Netflix.
I say, well, I'm a huge Transformers fan. I'm hella biased. I say it's worth the price of a ticket. Maybe not worth the price of snacks, but price of a ticket.
$8.
It's worth the price of the first ticket, in my opinion. I don't know if I'd go see this film again.
I would go see it at a matinee. $6 is my limit. $8 personally.
Hey,
yes.
make this
maybe
movie
I'm
some money.
cheap. I don't know.
No, I look. Just people go see it. Make this movie some money so they make.
They make more that are hopefully better.
Yeah.
All
Give
right.
my boy Cheetor some more lines.
Yes. So.
Well, Jake, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Great to have you here.
I'm just listening.
Fair enough. Well, Jake, do you want to have anything left to add? Maybe you can plug our socials this time.
Yeah, follow us on YouTube. Download the podcast. I don't know where you go for that. I usually use Spotify,
anywhere, just about everywhere. Spotify, Google.
But YouTube. Subscribe.
Don't forget to rate us, too. Give us 5 stars.
Yes,
or
a review.
any kind of stars.
Yeah, give us a better rating than the critics for Rise of the Beasts.
I'll take a like. You can leave a negative comment. I'm fine
Yes.
with anything.
We'll argue with you in the
yeah,
comments.
I'll
Yes, we
argue
will.
with you.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Now, Zach, if people want to listen to you and what you do on the side, where can they find you?
Oh, at the Alchemist Club. We're basically everywhere you can find podcasts. I believe we're also at the Alchemist _club on Twitter and at the Alchemist Club on TikTok. We have email addresses. I don't remember them. I know it's a version of Alchemist Club and Alchemists Club.
Yeah, the fact that you all
88
have
at
it
Gmail?
is.
Okay,
And
all
one
right.
has an S in it, one does not.
Right,
And both
I don't do the
work.
socials, so this is trying to be pulled from memory here.
Fair enough.
This is a huge gear shift in my brain.
All right. Well, Zach, thank you as always.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Anytime.
All right. And with that, see you go.